Hey guys, so it's been a while, and I figured I would show you something new, and I've got my trusty art journal made by Ranger. I really like it. And this is a page, so each page is a little bit different. There's like canvas or burlap, and there's canvas sheets too, so there's that, which is pretty cool because you can do different things with it. This is a spray bottle with water in it. Usually I use that to tell my cat to get the hell out of wherever he's going, but you know, it doesn't always work. And I've got a paintbrush and some masking fluid that I'm going to put on the page. I kind of don't really have a whole big plan. You know, I'm just kind of going with, I don't know, whatever the hell I feel like doing. You can do like paint splatters, I guess. It's kind of like, you know, the paint pouring thing, how it's like so many people are doing it. It's not really art if you're all doing the same thing. I mean, then you're just producing the same item. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, it's stupid. Anyway, that's just my opinion. I mean, what can I say? I don't know. I feel like it's important to be, you know, unique. You know what I mean? Don't do what everyone else is doing. Do whatever the hell you feel like doing. And that's exactly what I do. Because, I don't know, I can't be bothered with that nonsense of like following along and doing what everyone else is doing. What the hell? You know what I mean? Like, for what exactly? So you see I'm using the blunt end, and that's just because that's what I do. So at this point, you can let it wait. You can let it dry for a little bit and decide what color you want to go over that. So this is my shelf where I keep all my art. I'm sorry it's not very well lit, but this is where I keep all my art supplies, and I'm just wondering what colors to use. I feel like I wanted to do something with just one color, like only blue, but like a whole bunch of different kinds of blues, if you know what I mean. I don't know if you've gathered already, but blue is pretty much one of my favorite colors. So I'm just taking all the different blues I can find. Of course, turquoise is absolutely my favorite. So I've got this turquoise Liquitex, yay! And we'll use a little bit of this ultramarine blue. I'll show you the other colors that I get. I picked out. So here's some of the colors, you know, that I picked out. You know, usually you use this for watercolors, you know, and stuff. Like when you're gonna make flowers, you know, do any kind of like floral type of painting, you know, you would put the masking fluid down, you know, and then you paint over it, and you know, and that's how that works. But you know, since when do I follow rules? I mean, really, this is me we're talking about. So at this point, I'm just kind of, oh, I forgot, I gotta get my scraper thingamajig, if I can remember where I put it. Alright, I gotta go get it. I got my scraper thing. So again, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really have a plan, per se, sorry about that. I just kind of go with what feels right. And do something like that. If I end up screaming ouch, it's because my cat is deciding that he wants to murder my feet. Just saying. He enjoys doing things like that. He does. But see, now my vape almost killed him just now. Not really, but sort of. So, you know, he's being more cautious. Alright. That's what I got so far. And, see what else I want to add to this. So I just added, that was Apple Barrel in turquoise. And do a little bit of that. And sorry, I just had to squirt my cat because he wanted to come and say hello, which totally would be fine, except hello for him means coming up and putting his little paws and his little cute toe beans all over my painting, and then getting his wet painted toe beans on my bedspread, which I don't really want that to happen. So this is what we have so far. We obviously are not finished yet. I'm thinking it's time for a stencil. Yes, okay. I think so. So I'm back with a few things. I have, let's see, this in purple. Ouch! God damn it! It's my cat biting my feet. Sorry. And got this one in violet. And see, he ignores me all day, and then he thinks he can just come over here and, you know, bite on my feet when I'm not paying attention to him. That's what he does. Does anybody else have a cat that does that? I've never owned a cat before. I've never owned a pet. I haven't had a pet since I was a little kid, really. Since I was a little girl. And I don't know, a lot of times it's like most things that you do as an adult, you just think, well, it sounded like a good idea at the time, and it did. No, I love him. He's just an asshole sometimes. So that's what we got so far. Now that looks pretty cool. I kind of like it just the way it is. I've got these little circles, and those will come in handy later. Now with this, the cool thing about the, I mean, you can take it off if it comes off. This kind of paper, it's like handmade paper, so it's not really coming off that well. But I kind of don't mind, like, the texture that it adds. I'll try to give you a close-up. It gives like some interesting texture here, you know, and there. So it's interesting. The other thing that I wanna play around with, well, this isn't water. This is like handmade paper. But you know what I want to try? Maybe in my next video, is doing some crayon resist. That would be cool, because then you get the white crayon and it looks so freaking cool. But you can try to just very lightly. It takes a little bit to dry though, and it's, you know, the paint, you know, the paper is a little bit wet. So, but you, what the hell is my cat doing? It's just kind of craziness. He's being a wackadoo is what he's doing. What in heaven's name is, like, you know, he must have done a line or two. So I'm trying to get, I'm just going to use one that I have open already. I have this acrylic paint. Oh, and by the way, this stencil is by Deco Art, of course. The same people who made the spray, because they're awesome, and I like their paints a lot. So what we're going to do is, I like to dab a little bit right there. And I'm going to take that paintbrush. I'm not going to probably paint the whole thing because it'd be weird, a blue sunflower. I mean, maybe that would be normal. I don't know. I don't know what normal is anymore. I don't think that anybody does. What is normal? You know? That's the real question. So, let's see. Oh, while I have you guys watching, I did redesign my website. So if you feel like taking a gander, it's thecraftaholic.com. Oh, crap, I poured too much paint. Oh, well. You know, I just kind of made it look a little more cute again. Gave it a little bit of life. You know, just kind of change. I hadn't really changed the you know, the website in such a long time. Yeah, it looks like shit. So I felt like it was time, you know, to just change it up. Just, yeah, I felt like it was really just time. So I'm gonna do, I have like all this paint there still. So I'm just gonna use it. And yeah. So I'm back to looking for a job. I know I had updated my website. I had updated my blog and said, you know, that I was working or whatever, but apparently the assholes at Goodwill, after 2 weeks, they say to me that they can't afford to keep me anymore. So I'm like, why the fuck would you do that to somebody? You know that in 2 weeks I could have had another opportunity. You know how many people were calling me for about my resume, and you're gonna sit there and be like, oh yeah, sorry that we, you know, got your hopes up 2 weeks later. Thanks for, you know, I don't know why, like, that's gotta be some kind of serious, like, privilege that you got, that you think it's okay to do that to people. You actually screw people over when you do things like that, because then they've already turned down other, you know, other gigs. You know, they've committed to certain things because they figured they've got this job, and then you go and say, oh yeah, we can't afford you, sorry. Why didn't you fucking figure that out before you fucking hired me in the first motherfucking place? Huh? What about that? What about that? You know? I fucking can't stand it when people who don't know what it's like to be poor screw over people who are already poor and have been for a long time. You know, because it's like and then they're like, oh, I'm sorry, we feel really bad. No, you motherfucking don't. You don't feel bad, because if you felt bad, you wouldn't have hired me in the first fucking place if you weren't fucking sure. God, people are just ridiculous. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Anyway, so we've got this going so far. I know I said I was going to stick to blues and things, but I don't know. I kind of like, I don't know. I want a different color. So I'm going to grab some different colors. So I am back. Did I bring the stencil? I thought I had another stencil. Y ahora, I don't know where it is. Anyway. Oh, it's right here. It's a little bent, but who cares? So of course I have pink because of course I love pink. I think that and take this because I don't know where my roller thingy is. I think it's by my easel and I don't feel like going and getting it, so we'll just do this because you guys know how much I love that roller thingy. All right, you know what? You talked me into it. I'll go get my roller thingy. And I'll come back because it's okay. I'm back with my brayer. I know I always call it a roller thingy. I know it's called a brayer. I just sort of sometimes forget because I do things like sometimes forget. This page looks on point. This page looks just, I don't know, terrible. So I've got to fix it and figure out how to make it look better. I'm gonna take. Usually when I do things like that, I take a color that I like to look at a lot, you know? Like, I enjoy this pink color. So, kind of doing some of this. And then I just paint over it. Yeah, there we go. I put a little too much, so this is what I do. Yeah. Do that. And I know that somebody had expressed interest in me showing how I make my tiny little books, and I will do that at a later date because I can't find my other. I need a special kind of thingamajig to hold my camera, not the one I use now. So, yeah. Well, maybe you shouldn't be eating. Maybe you shouldn't be eating paint, Ivy. That's Ivy. Say hi, Ivy. That's Ivy. Sometimes she eats paint. Sometimes she eats cat food. Who knows? You know, sometimes bird feathers. You know, the usual stuff for a dog. Take that out of the way so you don't know that I am as messy as I actually am. Then we're going to take this over here. Because remember, what I'm doing right now is fixing this page. Because this page, I sort of am pleased with how it looks, but this one looks, I don't like it at all. It just doesn't have any, like, real... There's something that I look for in my artwork. And I'm always... there we go. Yes. And that's what I look for in most of my paintings and such, you know. But I got it. So now what we do is, well, first of all, I'll show you this. So Ivy, what should I do next? You think I should go for the pink, or should I do the purple with the circles? I have the purple one. What do you think? The purple one with the circles? I don't think she cares. All right. I think the purple and then this will work pretty nicely. So this is what I got so far. Right? And maybe I'll get some of this yellow. So the problem with this yellow that I have right now is that the sprayer doesn't really work. So what I will do magic trick. It's very fun. I learned it in Latvia. No, I didn't. I'm just being silly. I've never been to Latvia in my life. I don't even know where it is. That's sad. Am I going to regret it if I do that? Do I regret it? Nah. I kind of, I'm digging that. Actually, I dig that. I like it. That looks interesting. And, see? You can see all the interesting, all the different layers there. You can use heavy body acrylic, or you could just do what I did and make a mistake and go, oopsies, and, you know, do that. So, you're going to take your little circles. Well, I just cut mine out of watercolor paper. But you can do whatever you want, you know. It's, I'm not the boss of you. You know, maybe you have a circle cutter thing. I don't know. Do you? Did you vote today? Because today's election day. I hope you voted. You better have Mother Flower voted. I know I curse a lot. I was going to apologize, but yeah, no, there's no I'm sorry for that. I just, yeah, I just curse a lot. So I'm going to cover certain parts. Y mira lo que voy a hacer. Look at what I'm going to do. All right. Después, I take this one off. And I'm going to put it right there. Take this one off. And I'll put it right there. Right? There. Cool. There. All right. Ahora we take it off. Right? I'm sorry I got quiet. I was concentrating. Do you guys watch, there's this lady on, I found out about her on Facebook, actually. And she does these videos, so she smokes a ton of pot. No, she takes an edible. Like, people send her edibles from all over. And then she does a makeup tutorial stoned out of her gourd. Have you guys seen that? All right. I thought, how interesting would it be to make art? Oh! When you're stoned, but that wouldn't be an abnormality. Okay. So, this is the page so far. I want to try to get it in a better light so you see it without all the shine. You see it? Gonna let this dry and then add a little white paint to it. I think that's all it needs. So, here I am with this page that looks really interesting. Well, I think it looks interesting. And I'm gonna get some black and some white gesso and figure out what I'm gonna do next, I guess. So I have this heavy body acrylic. what else can I talk about? I don't know what else has really been going on in my life. Just kind of like trying to deal with, I think that in life I think in life you tend to be led to believe that, when you meet certain conditions, like you go to college or when you do this or do that, life is going to be perfect. But then you get older and shit starts to happen, and you're like, wait a minute, I thought everything was supposed to be good if I did this and that. But shit goes south anyway. And I think that a big part of being an adult is realizing life sucks and people are assholes, and maybe just move on when you realize that, At least that's kind of my perspective. Right. So that is that part. I think I like it just as is. I'll try to show you better. If you're wondering why I'm making art on my bed today instead of an actual workspace, my legs have been killing me. I have fibromyalgia, and so I've been in bed with a lot of pain. So I like this, and I think it's done. The only thing left to do is remind you again to go vote today. And yeah, I'm gonna have all the pictures and everything on my website. And as far as products that I recommend, some of you, somebody asked me once, the products that I recommend, it really, really depends. I don't try to act like a commercial or anything like that, Hey, so as far as like products that I recommend, I try not to be like a commercial, like I said. I try to be more like what works for me and what works for my budget. As far as me for my budget, and what's accessible, just wherever I go, if I travel, I tend to travel between, I live in Ohio. I tend to travel between here and New Jersey, New York, and Minnesota, here and there. And I'm going to want something that's accessible everywhere, that I can find at any, craft store. And so for that reason is why I pick brands like Deco Art Media and Liquitex, Golden, because they're brands that, you're just going to find everywhere. As far as what's less expensive, obviously, Deco Art is going to be always, the cheapest. But I'm going to say go with what works for you. I would always say just go with your budget. Just go with what you can afford. Don't break the bank. And if you can break the bank, buy some of my art instead. I'm kidding. Not really. I'm not kidding. I need you to buy my art. But for me, those are my favorite brands. So Deco Art Media, Golden, and Liquitex are probably my favorites. And for watercolors, oh shoot, I'd have to have a whole other, show on that. But the next show I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to see about doing a video on how I make my little art books, Yeah, so don't forget to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and go to my website. It's www.thecraftaholic.com, and you know, check out my artwork, buy my artwork and all that stuff, and check out pictures and stuff like that that I have online. And if you have any ideas or anything for videos that you want me to make, just hit me up, leave a comment or something like that. All right, bye, thanks.